First of all, thank you for taking the time out to meet with me. I really appreciate it. And
My pleasure.
also, LRT Sports and our whole community thanks you because we're really interested in hearing your story. Brian had reached out because you were um, on the radio, actually, telling a little bit about your story and kind of sending out your message and making sure that this doesn't happen to other recruits and anybody else that wants to play college basketball. So I'm not going to give away too many details. I'll kind of let you do that. But just to start, want to give a quick background about yourself. Maybe introduce yourself a little bit.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. It's definitely my pleasure. So basically, my name is Brandon Bailey. Uh, I was a student athlete at Howard University, the year of 2011. So this was some time ago. I'm from the PG County, Maryland area. Um, and yeah, I just thought that this would be a great time to really speak up, so that other people don't have to go through my experiences. Um, I was at Howard for only 1 year, and I was promised a 4-year scholarship. So I'm sure other people have been promised those scholarships. But my situation is a little bit different because I actually decided to give up my scholarship after 1 year and just seeing what it was, what it truly was.
Yeah, so when you were going through your recruiting process, I guess what was the part that was the biggest difference for you as far as going from being a recruit, and I'm sure you're super excited, get this opportunity for 4-year scholarship, which is a huge deal. So congrats on even getting
Right.
there. So what's the different, like what kind of were you expecting and what ended up happening?
Well, I'm not going to say I'm a little bit different, but my goal was not necessarily to go to the NBA. I wasn't trying to be this crazy stellar athlete, but I was talented enough to get to a university as prestigious as Howard University. Well renowned, great community, has great support, alumni. What I wanted to do was basically secure my future while also being able to play, the sport that I love. I was promised by the coach that I would have a certain position on the team. Um, I was given the impression that the athletic program was indicative of the Howard brand,
Mm-hmm.
which it wasn't when I finally got there. So, like you said, I was excited. Senior in high school, um, had a game. I was recruited. Actually, one game I was recruited. We played, um, we played our rival school. Very, very hype game. And the coach actually came there to recruit somebody on the opposing team, and he gave me a call that night and said, "Hey, we want to sign you." So that was big for me. Was excited. I went in there. One, I did one visit. I did an official visit. I don't know how many people get nowadays, but back then it was I think it was 5 official visits. So went on my official. Um, Looked at the college life. I was excited. I saw so many people of my culture that were just on so much positivity, trying to get better, trying to be educated. I loved everything about the community. So I decided to actually go. Coach Nickelberry was a great salesman, so
Mm-hmm.
to speak. So he told me, I was going to be I don't know if people know who Eddie Baston is, but he's a legend around Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, yeah, we're going to be the Eddie Baston of this team. You're going to be starting this amount of games. You're going to be doing this, and that. And yeah, I ended up seeing that the entire culture of the basketball team, was it was something else.
It was different than what you're expecting, which
Yeah,
happens a lot of the
yeah,
time.
yeah. That happens.
Yeah. Um,
But
s- Go ahead.
when, well, I was saying, but when it gets to the point of when it starts to have a negative effect on you, your overall mental health, physical health, being able to produce in school, and you see that it's not an investment anymore, sometimes you got to know when to fold. So
100%. I totally agree with you. And when you were going through it and obviously it was having a negative impact and stuff, did you see it was having a negative impact on some of your other teammates?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, everybody. Everybody on my team was just not liking to be there. Um, it took a toll on people and their families. You know, I got guys calling me today talking about, you know, how it really hurt their families.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a father called me, and you know, there's a lawsuit going on right now against him because of some of the actions that were taking place, and you know, people are kind of rallying behind it because, you know, it took my family personally and myself like a couple of years to kind of get past just the overall continual beat down. You know, they like I see young guys going in. I'm a little bit older now. I'm 25 now, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little bit more mature than 17. You know, when I was 17. You know,
Yeah.
But you know, when I was 17, you know, I was coming in like you said, excited, and you can see myself and you can see guys after me just completely change. Their demeanor, their confidence, everything completely torn down. So
Yeah. So I know last time we spoke, you were mentioning that a big reason that you're kind of coming out now is because you don't want this to happen to other athletes. What advice could you give to somebody who's currently going through the recruiting process as far as what to look for in a coach or a school or anything else?
well, I would say definitely don't jump into anything. Don't get too excited, and that's just anything in general. It's great to be excited, but always do your research. Go to the campus, see what other people have to say about it. See what the community, see what other coaches have to say about this person. I was hearing so much stuff about my coach after I left, you know, or when I was already there, and I'm hearing this from all these other coaches. I'm like, damn, I didn't even take the time to really, you know, have my eyes open. So that's my first piece of advice. Um, Second piece of advice: do your shopping. You know, I know you may get excited because this one school is offering you something, or you really want to go to this school. Um, Weigh out your options. You know, definitely do that, and look at not just what the sport, what the program has to offer as far as sports. Look at the overall culture of the program. Look at if the guys are getting assistance in school, or you know, just see the entire culture of the program.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we had guys so down and depressed and doing crazy stuff. I remember one time, um, one guy on the team got so upset. Um, he thought somebody like took his blue Gatorade, ended up choking another guy out. That's how much animosity was on the team. And yeah, you gotta look at stuff beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely. When you went on your recruiting trip, were you able to kind of see a practice at all?
Um, we saw a brief practice.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't stay the entire time, but you know, he was not the same in that practice as he was
For sure.
when I was there. Yeah.
And that's something to note, for recruits out there. And when you're on your recruiting trip, everybody's a salesman. You're a salesman, they're a salesman. You want to be able to get to that school, but you need somebody who's at least honest throughout that recruiting process. And that's why we started LRT Sports, was to kind of let those kids know that there are comments from current and former athletes who can kind of come out and talk about these experiences and let people know how their experience was with those coaches. So that's why we really wanted to speak with you, because it's really in line with our mission and everything that we're trying to do.
I definitely respect that. One thing I actually forgot too, really speak out to your parents and your community. I mean, I didn't even get into what was actually happening yet, but you know, we were being called. Well, can I curse or?
Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah.
You know, every day, you know, you make one mistake, you stupid motherfucker, get out of my practice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you son of a bitch, you know, and he would actually separate us based upon whether we're light skinned or dark skinned.
No way.
Yeah, it was a lot of stuff, and I felt like I couldn't really say anything because my livelihood was on the line. You know, I feel like I didn't have any support at the time. Definitely, if you're going through something, say something to your parents, have it recorded on paper. Have everything recorded on paper, because the worst thing you want to do is not have a paper trail of what's going on. You know, so definitely reach out for that support.
Yeah. So, do you feel like it was something that was like every day just bringing you down and not something that you wanted to do anymore? Like, when did you decide that your mental health and well-being and everything was more important than playing basketball or a scholarship or, whatever else you had going on?
I'm not a this might be off the limb, but I'm just keeping 100.
No, you got to. That's what we want.
I'm not. So I was getting called out of my name every single day. I wasn't given an opportunity to learn. I was, like I told you, I was being called a dumb, stupid motherfucker every single day. So I would say, you know what? I'm not even going to, I'm not even going to trip. I'm going to go to my coach and say, look, what is it that I can do to learn what you're trying to show me? And it's like, man, I don't got time for this shit. So a lot of different things I can't even put my hands on as to what he was doing. We were not only being verbally abused, we were actually having practices up until 9, 10 o'clock at night when the calf was closed. So, we don't eat for the night. That right there in itself is crazy, because as a college athlete, you got to have enough food, enough nutrition, and brain power, first of all, to be able to go to class. But to be able to handle that class and physical load, there's no way you can't, have the right food in your system. We were doing 2-a-days. We were doing a middle of the day workout, and it was a constant pressure. When I got to the point I realized that it was enough was when I saw that it wasn't an investment anymore. I wasn't getting anything out of it. I was just being taken from and taken from and used. When we were injured, it didn't matter. I didn't see anything coming out in the long run. And a lot of guys question me like, man, you gotta just stick it out, man, for a few more years. And then the next year, you got 3, 4 more guys leaving. You got, so many people transferring out. So the moment when I realized, like, I might get physical with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I really might hurt this guy. I'm not a violent person at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when somebody's beating you down every day, it's not a good time,
Right. And when you're at the workplace, you have HR, you have different people that you can go to and say like, hey, I don't appreciate this, or there's a code of ethics. But if you're in a place where it's just, it's a free for all, it doesn't make sense to stay.
Yeah, absolutely. And you brought up a great point too, as far as a lot of kids transferring or maybe quitting, or the turnover was pretty high for a team, and that's a very valid point and something that recruits should be looking at. And it's not something that you would expect to look at. I'm sure you didn't look at it when you were being recruited. Right. I know I didn't. And, that's something that you should be aware of, is how many kids are leaving the team. Is there, are they staying all 4 years? Did they, quit because they didn't like the coach? Did they quit because of an injury? Or what were the circumstances that led to the kid quitting? That information it won't always be available to you, but that being said, there's ways to find out at least how often people are quitting or getting.
And you can talk to players about it, like current players. I agree with you completely. You should definitely talk and find that out. People will tell you, be surprised, for sure.
What are some questions that you think that players should ask on a recruiting trip?
Players, questions I think they should ask on recruiting trips.
2 other players, not necessarily the coach.
Oh, 2 other players.
Yes.
What's this coach like on a daily basis? Simple questions. Do you like it here? Yeah. I've never asked anybody that question, but if I would have asked one person that question, I would have been told what it really is. But we didn't know those guys, so it was like I'm not really, I can't really talk to them like that. Talk to these people, get to know them, hang out, and they will tell you everything that's going on. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, I think we really respect you for coming out and kind of talking about this. I know it's a tough topic to talk about. There's a lot of athletes out there who are probably looking up to you in this situation. So, A, congratulations, and we applaud you for that. But yeah, no, of course. And then B, kind of like, what would be your key takeaways throughout your whole experience, as far as like what insight you can lend to the upcoming generation, whether it's getting recruited for sports or, playing an instrument or whatever else it may be. Like, what kind of insights have you learned throughout this whole process?
If your program is not helping you become a better man or woman, get out. That program is not in it for the right reasons. Every winning program that I've ever been in has focused on character. When a program is not focused on character, its foundation is trash. And it will not only 9 out of 10 times be a losing program, but it will also be one that just is not building you up. Whenever you go into a situation and you're staying in it, that's whether it's in relationships or anything, you should be helping that program or that person, and that person or program should be helping you. It's a symbiotic relationship. If you're tearing away from each other, it can't work. And then also when you bring it to their attention that they're tearing you down, if it doesn't change, get out of it. It's don't believe in any fear that you won't make it out. Don't believe in, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. You'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
If you got, not everybody has that family support that I had, but many do. People in the community would love to help you. They reach out to people like yourself. Reach out to me. We'll help you work through the kinks. Definitely do that. Have a backup plan. Not everybody's going to whatever professional league there is. I mean, it's great if you do. It is truly great if you do. However, you can't put your entire future in somebody else's hands. That's never a goal. I know I'm sounding like an old head now, but like pay attention in school, because a lot of those things I learned in school actually helped me to get on my feet when I did leave college. Doing things like being places on time, turning in proper assignments and doing things the right way, asking for help and communicating when you need to. Just take a lot of those soft skills with you from school and from the basketball, football, soccer field, whatever have you. And always, it's really always the simple things, like just be kind to people, because people will remember that and they will be willing to help you wherever you go, no matter what situation you're in. So that's pretty much what I would say. And you can reach out to me if you have any questions. I know everybody's situation is different, but definitely feel free. I don't know if you wanted to give them my Instagram afterward or what have you, but
yeah, you can even want to just say what your handle is now, and then we can include it in the video.
Sure, it's B Bailey 4YA. So reach out.
Yeah, we'll tag you and everything like that too, so then you can share everything. And
okay.
Yeah, but is there any last thoughts that you have?
That's pretty much it for me. I respect everything that you guys are doing. It's well needed. I feel like in the future it could be like a sort of a union type of different type of thing where people actually have that support. I don't think there is much support for athletes right now, so I love what you have going on. Really do.
Thanks.
And you guys have my support.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I wish we were available when you were going through the recruiting process.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah. No, it's fine. Well, I actually wanted to know what do you guys do to, what are some of the services, or what are some of the things that you guys are working on to support athletes in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest thing is the coach rating. So we obviously allow college athletes to rate their college coaches anonymously, and we have an approval process and everything to make sure that the people are who they say that they are. And everything.
Yeah.
Yep, of course. So that's our biggest thing. And then we started going into the realm of content. So doing interviews like this with people like you, and interviewing current or former professional athletes, or current or former college athletes, even current and former college coaches, to kind of get a sense on what to do in the recruiting process. But we like to keep our information really raw. So we do a lot with like recruiting horror stories, which yours can technically be categorized in, or just information on different stories that happen to athletes throughout the recruiting process. We just actually posted an article about a golfer who she battled depression for a little bit on and off. And, you hear more and more about athletes and depression and mental health, and there's definitely an initiative around that as far as trying to help athletes be more healthy with their mental state, and not just with their bodies and everything. So those are the types of things that we're starting to pursue and really get into, and just trying to put out knowledge that isn't necessarily the typical information of, when a dark period is, how many recruiting trips you can go on, but the real raw stories and information from those athletes.
The truth.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. And
there are a lot of great sides to it too. A lot of great sides to that process, the experience. I mean, being around, new people, and I guess a lot of good stuff. But I definitely agree with the point that you mentioned as far as having that mental health. That mental health and that game is everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that when you go to college, if you don't have a support system around you, you're not getting the proper nutrition, like I mentioned, because that plays a key role in, you even having the energy to do things. That is truly, truly necessary. So I'm so glad you guys are talking about that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing, right? Because there's so much time and energy and everything. And like you said, it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. If you have the chance to be a college athlete, I recommend it. I mean, there's nothing like it. You have an instant friend group when you walk onto campus. You're working hard every day. It really teaches you a lot of great life skills like discipline and time management. But, there's the other side of it where there's not always the support that you need as an athlete. And maybe there could be things that are done better by schools and the NCAA to kind of reassure that situations like this aren't going to happen. And not to fault anyone, but, the NCAA is here to protect the student athletes, supposedly. So if, something like this is happening, if they're not stepping in, they should be, and maybe having a tighter watch on some of the coaches out there, because we've seen lots of scandal over the past couple of years, especially in basketball with, the FBI probe coming out and everything else. So just trying to, provide more support for those athletes.
Definitely. If you get people talking, I mean, what you have going on, getting people talking, the NCAA has to respond.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're making a lot. They're doing a lot of they're making a lot of money off these athletes. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And you got to invest back into the students. The kids aren't getting paid. They can't have a job, so they don't really, at my level, I was at like a mid-major level. So I wasn't at the, Kansas State's, Kentucky's. So I wasn't getting, certain extra treatments. But yeah, I mean, these kids got to have something in their pockets. They got to be able to eat at night. They got to be able to have some rest, because it'll tear up your body for the long run.
Yeah.
But no, the NCAA, if the media keeps getting to them, they definitely have to respond.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And even situations like it doesn't matter. I know there's a lot of attention on the bigger D1 schools, but there are things that happen in every level of every
level,
sport, and
Right.
there needs to be support for all athletes. So
I
we're just
agree.
here trying to help people understand what goes into being a college athlete and honestly how truly great it is. But at the same
Right.
time, there are certain things that you want to be looking for when you're going through your recruiting process to make sure that you are in the best situation possible as an athlete, but also as a student, as you mentioned, and making sure that you're getting what you need out of being at the school that you want to be at.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I couldn't say it better myself.
Well, I think you said a lot today, so that was super helpful. And thanks for taking the time again. I really appreciate it. I know everybody at LRT Sports really appreciates it. And
For sure.
we'll get your handle up there. And if anybody has any questions or anything, reach out to Brandon. We'll tag him and everything. And yeah, thanks so much, and I really appreciate it.
Again, it's my pleasure, and let me know if you need anything. Tell Brian to let me know, and you guys always have my full support.
Awesome, will do. And keep in touch, please.
Will do.
All right.